Read aloud for week 2. We're reading Types of Biology. Let's get started. What does a biologist do? Biology is the study of living things. Biologists, the scientists who study living things, call those things organisms. Close your eyes and think about organisms on Earth. Did you think of dogs, cats, birds, insects, plants, fish, or bacteria? Did you think of other organisms? Biologists want to learn about how all these organisms work, how they interact with each other, and how they interact with their environments. When you study biology in science class, you ask questions, make observations, and collect data. Biologists pay close attention to every part of the surroundings that interact with the organisms they are studying. The surroundings and the factors in those surroundings that organisms interact with are known as the environment. Sometimes the environment is large, like a rainforest. Sometimes environments are so small that scientists need it to study them through a microscope. Microbiologists are one type of scientist. They investigate the growth, development, structure, and function and other characteristics of organisms that are so small that they can only be observed through a microscope. A microbiologist named Patricia Diaz studies bacteria that live in the mouths of humans. You might be surprised to learn that about 500 different kinds of bacteria live in your mouth. Dr. Diaz focuses on the bacteria that arrive on the teeth just after they are brushed. At first, a few species of bacteria come. Then, if your teeth are not brushed properly, and frequently, new species arrive. Dr. Diaz studies the first bacteria to come and how they react with each other. You could probably make a good guess as to why someone would study bacteria on your teeth. Do you see the community of bacteria on your teeth? Of course not. To see them, you need a microscope. Primatologists. Other scientists look at interactions too. And an action between two or more things that have an effect on each other is called an interaction. In life science, you may study how plants or animals and environments interact. Sometimes biologists look at data that were collected by someone else over many years. Sometimes they spend many years focusing on one kind of population to observe individual interactions with each other and interactions with the whole population and its environment. A population is a group of the same kind of organisms that live together in a particular area. Primatologists study mammals that have certain characteristics such as flexible fingers and toes and eyes that face forward and are close together. They study populations of primates. Primates include animals like chimpanzees, gorillas, and you. Yes, human beings are primates. One famous primatologist is Jane Goodall. She is recognized as the world's best authority on chimpanzees. Goodall observed chimps stripping twigs of leaves in order to stick them together to termite holes to pull out termites for food. The discovery of a non-human animal using tools. Her work has expanded scientific thinking about relationships between humans and animals. Many projects about paying attention to the environment have developed from her work. She made many discoveries by using observational skills like those you use in science class. She kept careful notes about her observations, just like you will be doing. Her work is an example of a biologist who makes observations over a long period of time. Jane Goodall spent more than 40 years in Africa observing a population of chimpanzees. She spent many hours hardly moving, just watching and learning about chimps' behaviors. Okay, we have botanists. Botanists are biologists who study plants. Here's a question for you. Do you like peanut butter? If you do, you have a botanist to thank. His name is George Washington Carver. Although the ancient Incans in South America were the first people to make a type of peanut butter, Dr. Carver rediscovered it for the modern world, along with hundreds of other uses for peanuts. Dr. Carver did research in his laboratory in Tuskegee University in Alabama. He also went outdoors to do some of his work. In fact, he brought his students out to work with people who were too poor to travel to school. Dr. Carver taught farmers how to get the best crops possible by alternating the ones they had planted in a field rather than planting the same crops in the same field every year. Farmers all over the world used his methods today to produce healthy crops. And our last type here is marine biologists. Marine biologists spend time on and in the water collecting data. They also spend time on laboratories analyzing the data they collect. Like other biologists, their work often takes years. Some kinds of data can help people understand the importance of protecting Earth's natural environment. Marine biologists help people think about preserving ocean life. One marine biologist is Alejandro Alviquedo Gutierrez. He grew up in Mexico City. When he was younger, he enjoyed TV programs about marine life. When he grew up, he became a marine biologist who studies whales, dolphins, and seals all over the world. Dr. Alquivedo Gutierrez was featured in a documentary called Dolphins, which showed in IMAX theaters. He studied the interesting ways that some dolphins feed by herding anchovies into tightly spinning bait ball and then taking turns eating the fish. Pretty cool. All right, thanks for listening.